How's it going, guys and girls? This is Mustard here, bringing you a detailed character breakdown of Blue Beetle in Injustice 2. Ketchup and myself were fortunate enough to get a generous amount of hands-on time with some of the new characters in the game at Gamescom, and the one I spent the most of my time with by far was Blue Beetle. Before we start, I want to point out that obviously this is all from a very early build of the game, so everything you're about to hear is of course subject to change. I will be focusing on his special moves and normal attacks, and the general feel I got from playing him, so with that in mind, let's get stuck in. His special moves utilise a different number of gadgets and equipment. He has a grounded projectile which can also be done in the air. The grounded one can be meter burned and turned into a mid which cannot be neutral crouched, whilst the air ones seem to have a large amount of recovery on landing, unlike air projectiles we've seen in the past. Using his stingers, Blue Beetle has an upward striking attack. This works very well as a combo extender, as the meter burn version launches the opponent for a full follow-up. This move also functioned pretty well as an anti-air. He also has a straight stinger attack. One thing to point out immediately is that these are not wreckers, simply a single attack that hits multiple times in one go. This starts as a low, but is, I repeat, not a wrecker. He also has a straight charging attack. This knocks the opponent down and covers a good amount of distance, giving him some really good grounded mobility. Finally, one of his most interesting specials is a jetpack float. This makes him hover in the air for a short time. From this hovering state, he can propel himself in practically any direction, and even dash straight forward through the air. He can also fire his air projectile at any point whilst airborne, even mid-dashes, creating some interesting fake-out opportunities. Now, let's talk about his character power, which lets him toggle between two different stances. Let's call it the Mace stance and the Blade stance, making Blue Beetle Injustice 2's first stance-changing character. The Mace stance enables him to fire projectiles and gives access to some unique attacks, whereas the Blade stance greatly improves the range on a number of his attacks, including his jump-ins, punishes, and general punching attacks. It even changes his charge special attack and seemed to make it work as a wake-up attack. Going into his basic normals and strings, his strings particularly felt very powerful. Blue Beetle has a meterless launcher, a ton of mids, and a standing overhead which combos into the upward stinger. Combine this with his sweep or straight stinger being a low, this could potentially lead to a small 50-50 from a neutral state should you be close enough. How effective this will be, only time will tell. Some key normals that I picked up on outside of combo strings were his down 2, which worked particularly well as an anti-air, and also a restand in the form of this short boot attack. Universally, restands in Injustice have been really powerful, so this is promising. It all depends on how much damage you need to sacrifice to get the restand, but we won't know that until the game comes out. And finally, Blue Beetle has a standing string into a grab ender, which appeared to do great damage. I found myself using this to end every combo every time I got a juggle, and it would consistently net very respectable damage. Using a bounce cancel and ending with this, I was hitting about 60% damage for 3 bars, but this is an early build, so please take that with a pinch of salt. Overall, I found myself staying in Blade stance for the most part, and changing back when I needed the projectile attacks. The recovery on the air shot was incredibly severe, so I didn't find myself using it too much. However, the mobility across the board from the float was brilliant, and made me feel like I was in control of where I wanted to be at all times. Combine that mobility with good launchers, hit confirmable specials, strings, and good mids, and you seem to have a lot of potential on your hands in a character. That's all for now. Hopefully this has helped shed some light on how you all thought Blue Beetle would fit into the world of Injustice. Stay tuned for more as new information is released, and I'll catch you all next time.